Despite their 5-3 record, the Steelers' offense has been pretty bad this season. Pittsburgh currently ranks 29th in yards per game, 30th in points per game, 26th in EPA per play, and 27th in success rate. They have yet to have a game where they recorded over 400 yards of offense. Kenny Pickett is yet to throw for over 250 yards this season, and they've been held to 20 points or less in 5 of their 8 games so far this season. That is awful, and it's a miracle that the Steelers even have a winning record with that kind of offense. The coaching and play calling from offensive coordinator Matt Canada have not been good, to say the least. There also isn't that much talent in the offense outside of their top receivers, and the offensive line has been extremely underwhelming. The pass blocking has especially been terrible, as PFF has them ranked as the second worst pass blocking offensive line this season. Many in the NFL community, and especially in the Steelers community, have pointed the blame squarely at Canada, and I wanted to take a deep dive into that. When I did, I came to the conclusion that this can be fixed, and I'm going to talk about it. We're going to look at what Canada is doing that's making the Steelers' offense as bad as it is, and how some of the concepts he called against the Titans in Pittsburgh's last game can help alleviate some of the issues. Figuring out the answer to these questions and coming up with solutions is challenging, as watching tape of the Steelers' offense can be pretty painful. But we're going to try to do both, because again, I think there is a solution. The first thing I want to look at is how archaic Canada's passing concepts are, because Canada seems to be allergic to the middle of the field for whatever reason. It's not that Kenny Pickett can't read the middle of the field, although he does struggle with that sometimes, it's that he isn't even getting the chance to because barely anything is being run there. Here, we have a 1st and 10 against the Jaguars with one outside receiver on each side of the field. Deontay Johnson is going to run a 5 route, and George Pickens is going to run this route on the other side. It appears he's going to cut inside, but he sort of just hangs out outside the hashes after he breaks into his route. The Jags are playing 3 deep zones, and this guy is running the zone into the flat, right in front of Johnson's route. There are only 2 main routes here, and Mitch Trubisky is almost exclusively reading Johnson because he's got nowhere else to go. Once he throws the pass, the flat defender sinks towards Johnson, who's already blanketed by Darius Williams, and the tight coverage results in an incompletion. It may look like a bad QB decision, and it wasn't the best throw, but where else is Trubisky going to go here? There's only one under the route, and it's also covered, and the middle of the field isn't getting attacked at all. The play call dooms him from the start, and it results in a negative play. This is a 2nd and 10 against the Browns, and we're again going to see just 2 receivers run routes. Cleveland is running a cover 3 with their quarterbacks playing way off coverage, and the Steelers will attempt to beat it by having Johnson and Pickens run deep sail routes to the outside of the field. And spoiler alert, that's not how you beat this type of coverage. The receivers have to run a great distance before they can even be close to open, and they never get open because Cleveland's DBs just drop even more deep, making any throw to these guys nearly impossible. It forces a check down from Pickett, which is dropped because of course it is, and it happened because the middle of the field was neglected once again. I mean, at least have a crossing route or something. And here is the stupidest example I found. It's 1st and 10 against the Texans, and Houston is running a cover 3 look that's similar to the last play. Matt Canada calls a play that has, and just wait until you hear this, Pickett rolling out to the left, 2 routes going the completely opposite direction, and the only route to Pickett's side being a delayed route into the flat that will only happen after Boykin gets off a block. Why? The only route that Pickett has a chance of throwing to is going to take a while to develop because it's a delayed route. And because the play action is about as weak as a feather, it fools nobody, and the Texans easily cover the 2 wide side routes. This makes the designed crossfield throw, and yes, this was designed for whatever reason, insanely difficult, and Pickett has nowhere to go before throwing it away. Canada's passing concepts also don't give his receivers enough space to operate, which in turn doesn't give enough space for Pickett to throw the ball into. Here on a 1st and 10 against the Raiders, Darnell Washington is going to motion left to right to create a 2x2 look. Out of this look, Canada calls 2 hitches to the right and 2 short 5 routes to the left. There's nothing to create any kind of space for these routes to be open, no rub concepts or anything like that, and Vegas is playing tight man coverage on some of these routes. There's nowhere for Pickett to go, and no matter who he threw it to, it was going to be a difficult pass. He tries to high point something for Pickens, and it's an incomplete pass. Here against the Ravens, the Steelers have a 3rd and 11, and Canada dials up one of my least favorite play calls, which is just hitches all across the field. To make matters worse, they're all around the same length, going just in front of the 15-yard line, and it's against a cover 5 look from Baltimore, meaning there's not going to be much space to throw to. This play call made 0 sense, especially against the stingy Ravens defense. By the time the pass catchers actually turn back towards Pickett, he's already running for his life because of a well-executed stunt rush for Baltimore, and Pickett has to throw the ball away. This last example is a 2nd and 12 against the Rams. We get another 2x2 look in 12 personnel, with Connor Hayward and Rodney Williams playing in the slot. Canada dials up similar route concepts on both sides of the field, where we have a hitch from the outside receiver and an 8 route from the tight ends. The problem with this is glaring, because the 8 routes are almost going to run into each other, creating absolutely no space in the middle of the field. Even if Hayward and Williams ran their routes flat like this, you still have Christian Roseboom sitting here, waiting to attack anything right in front of him or right behind him. Johnson's hitch route is blanketed, and Pickens' route isn't even part of the progression, so Pickett has to force something to Hayward. I'm not trying to absolve Pickett of this pass, but the play design also gave him nowhere else to go, which is the theme with Canada's play calling. Canada also likes to run at the worst possible times, especially on early downs. Second and longs are where Canada really likes to run, which is strange because those are obvious passing situations. Not only does he run when he doesn't need to, he runs it straight up the middle or in between the tackles with little regard for what the defense is actually playing. Teams started to notice this, which is why the Steelers faced more heavy boxes and more defenders willing to just barrel downfield in order to stop the run. And despite that, Canada just kept on calling these runs, even though they were horribly inefficient. Because of that, Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren don't have anywhere to go, and often get met close to or at the line of scrimmage, and sometimes even behind it. These play calls needed to die yesterday, but they stuck around for the first 8 weeks of the season. It made for some frustrating viewing, and it's one of the main grievances I have with this offense. But against the Titans, Canada was a little bit better. He didn't exactly call a game like Andy Reid, but we did see some noticeable improvements that made me believe his problems can be fixed. These first 2 plays resulted in incompletions, but they were good passing concepts that actually got his receivers into space. We can start with this 3rd and goal play from the 11 where we get a 3x1 look. Allen Robinson is the number 2 on the wide side, and he'll run this motion, which will confirm the likelihood of man coverage from Tennessee. We in fact do get man coverage with 1 high safety up top, and Canada dials up this drive concept to beat it. Hayward will run inside first in order to get the safety moving away from Robinson's route, which is where the play is going to go. Pickett throws this low, so it's incomplete, but this was a really good play call and a touchdown with a good enough pass. Let's take another look at a good red zone call later in the game on this 3rd and 3 play. We get another 3x1 look, and Canada calls a smash concept on the wide side of the field. Robinson will run a short hitch to ensure Pickens is truly one-on-one when he runs this fade into the corner. Pickens gets some space, Pickett throws a good pass for a catch, but Pickens just doesn't get his left foot in bounds for the score. Everything worked great, and Pickens didn't even do a bad job, but he's just gotta drag his toe here. Good stuff from Canada again. Here's a good play call that did result in a positive outcome, and it was Deontay Johnson's first touchdown since 2021. It's 1st and goal, and the Steelers have Robinson and Johnson bunched up on the wide side. We're just going to get a simple rub concept where Robinson first stems to the outside before coming inside on this route to wall off Tennessee's defenders. Johnson will stem inside to hold off Elijah Molden before darting into what should be a wide open flat. And it is open. Robinson walls everyone off, Molden is too far to defend the pass, and it's an easy pitch and catch from Pickett to Johnson for the score. We also got some meaningful motion from Canada, which is something you see from all of the top offenses in football. It's 1st and 10, and Connor Hayward is going to motion from left to right before running this short route into the flat. A play action to the left should leave some space open for Hayward once defenders commit to that side, and that's exactly what happens. Hayward's motion allows him to be out into the flat immediately, and he gets short but good yardage once he receives the pass. And on the first drive of the game, Canada dialed up another deep 5 route for Pickett to throw to on a 3rd and 2. But unlike that play against the Jaguars I showed you, this will include a shorter out route from Hayward that will keep this flat defender occupied. Because of that, there's more room for Pickett to throw into once Johnson breaks out into the route. And despite the Titans running this too high coverage with Terrell Edmunds closing in, the Steelers are able to make it work after Pickett fires a laser towards Johnson. Don't get me wrong, Matt Canada still did Matt Canada things in this game. Some of his passing concepts didn't make sense, like when he called a wide receiver screen that required Pickett to throw long to the other side of the field. It also meant this wideout had to block for a very long time before the ball even got there, and it obviously fails and the screen goes nowhere. He also just wouldn't stray from this shotgun run up the middle. It worked a couple times for some big run plays, but most ended up with short gains or nothing at all. These things could still use some work, but there are some things to like about Canada in this game. Is this the sign that Matt Canada is turning the corner? It's tough to say, and I'm not sure if I want to entirely bank on it. This was one game in a season of mostly mediocre to below average play calling. However, some of the things he did against the Titans were positive signs, and are things he must do going forward if the Steelers' offense is going to improve. At this point, it's all on him. Pittsburgh improving on offense needs to start with him, and it needs to start fast, because we're now into the second half of the season. Matt Canada can be fixed. It's just a question of whether or not he wants to change. The offense before Tennessee was intentionally designed in an ancient and archaic way, like it's the 1990s or something, and Pittsburgh is at best a first-round exit if that continues. That'll end things here. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications, comment your thoughts, and share this video with others. And as always, thanks for watching.